There are two ways in which any government can proceed. One is a way based on what you and I would call a free society, which is enshrined right at the heart of the American Constitution. The other one is a way which allows only one view, both of economics and politics, in which almost everything is either owned or controlled by the state, including the media, including the ideas, including freedom of discussion and everything. There is no freedom of discussion. Now, between those two ways, the free society and the totally controlled society, there are, of course, variations. I think what we've learned in Britain is that we've gradually, over the last certainly 12 or 13 years, with perhaps a little interruption, gone slowly further and further away from the free society towards something else. At the same time, we found, I don't find it strange, but some other people do, that we have stopped creating wealth. We've had a large number of increasing restrictions. And you've been finding two things. First, that we are more and more concentrating on redistributing the wealth we've got, rather than creating any more. To create more, you need a slightly freer society, and you need an incentive society. Naturally, when I see that happening, I look with very great alarm to societies which have gone even further left. That is, they've tried to redistribute even more and haven't had the incentives for people working hard on their own account, doing well for their families, and often then being able to create jobs for others. They've produced a much more prosperous society than we have.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing ground.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. We're on weekdays, 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. This piece is from the Washington Free Beacon, links on my site, but it further enhances the previous comments that I've made about unsavoury activities in the Democrat Party. A political action committee linked to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pushed $250,000 to an activist campaign that was primarily bankrolled by liberal billionaire, wait for it, George Soros, according to Federal Election Commission filings. A House Majority PAC, that Pelosi-affiliated group dedicated to electing Democrats to the House of Representatives, this past election cycle made numerous transfers to the Win Justice campaign, which was launched by a handful of liberal activist organisations including, wait for it, Planned Parenthood, Colour of Change, Service Employees International, that's SEIU to you, and the Centre for Community Change. The group would work to push minority, young and women voters to the polls in Florida, Michigan and Nevada. Push. I wonder what that means. The network created an affiliated federal PAC, the Win Justice PAC, to fund their efforts. The PAC is operated by Deepak Patria. That name seems to ring a bell. The Chief of Staff at the Center for Community Change Action, a left-wing Washington, D.C. non-profit that is regularly involved in protests and direct action, against President Trump and the Republicans. Deepak, the executive director of the Center for Community Change, is part, wait for it folks, of Soros's 12-person advisory board for US programs at his Open Society Foundations. What a surprise. The Win Justice PAC was given $3.7 million from committees including SEIU, COPE, American Voters Action Fund, Civic Innovation, and Planned Parenthood votes. The Pelosi-linked PAC ultimately sent $250,000 in funds to the Win Justice PAC throughout the cycle, according to the filings. However, the PAC received a majority of its funds from deep-pocketed millionaires. The PAC reported $7.8 million from individuals, $5.2 million of which came from SOROS, who was the PAC's first and sole donor for some time after its launch. Later, donors to the PAC included billionaire financier Donald S. Sussman, Hollywood filmmaker Steven Spielberg, and wife Kate Capshaw, Soros's daughter-in-law Andrea Soros, real estate mogul George Krupp, and Weston Milken as secretary at the Democracy Alliance, the left's largest dark money donor network in which Soros is the top member. The Democracy Alliance, founded in 2005, consists of more than 100 liberal donors who have steered more than $600 million to liberal organizations and infrastructure since its inception. Pelosi has appeared alongside Soros at the group's secretive conferences to deliver keynote addresses to the donor network. Gara LaMarche, the president of the Democracy Alliance, who previously worked at Soros's Open Society Foundations, sat on the advisory board of the Center for Community Change, the group whose sister organization operated the Win Justice campaign's federal PAC. The Center for Community Change and Color of Change, another organization involved with Win Justice, are both recommended groups for funding by Democracy Alliance. In addition to targeting infrequent voters, Win Justice campaigns spent hundreds of thousands backing candidates such as former Senator Bill Nelson in Florida, who lost his election obviously to Rick Scott, and Elisa Slotkin, who won a race in Michigan's 8th congressional district, and Representative Jackie Rosen, who was elected to the U.S. Senate in Nevada. The House Majority PAC did not respond to inquiries into the money it gave to the Win Justice effort by press time. Well, what can you say about that? What I can say to you is there's a lot of organizations and there's lots of money moving around. It sounds to me almost like a shell game. And why would you have a shell game? Because you don't want to know who the real donors are, and you don't really want to know who's funding what, because that might be illegal, mightn't it? If the Justice Department was ever to investigate this group within a group within a group within a group, I have no doubt that there are some improprieties going on. What are they hiding? Why are they hiding it? Why are they so secretive? All these questions come to mind, don't they? And now I'm going to say something that might even shock you. This is where I do agree with Bernie Sanders. These groups in all these countries bluntly need to be silenced. They are interfering with democracy, and that's not an accident. That's not an accident. If you want to have true democracy in whatever system you're operating in, you cannot have it when large amounts of money are being poured into groups pushing one candidate or another. It should be for the people to decide, not donors with large bank balances or political groups with one leaning or another. Far more democratic to have small donations from large numbers of individuals. Far less likely to have control by one group or individual. It really is that simple. Most of these people are donating money because it's tax deductible. If you were to take away that tax donation capability, that money would dry up. And that would never do, would it? Just like ballot harvesting is legal in California, yet in other areas of the United States, people are being prosecuted for ballot harvesting. As I said in the piece on Pelosi, something's definitely rotten in Denmark, and this really stinks like a dead fish. And that's my comment. You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab and email. We're also on Spotify. Just go to the podcast section and type Canadian Politics with a twist, and you'll find us. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on these links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio. That's EHRADIO, A Radio, and click on the like button. And you can hear a review of our morning moments on WHBJ-DB, News, Talk, Radio on Spreaker.com. Join us and many others. And you can find all our podcasts and morning moments at aradio.wordpress.com. Click on the Morning Moments tab.